Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nexus where we spotlight some of our favorite local businesses. We have one of our very first clients here today, which is super fun. I'm excited to introduce you to Sara Brown. She's the owner of Rutabagas Comfort Food. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Gosh, I feel like that was 1,000 years ago.
It was.
Your first client. That's wild to think
Yeah,
about.
I know. And it was like a concept that we started talking about right when I had decided to start True North.
Yes.
Because we really started as a mobile app development company.
Yep.
And you were like, I could really use that.
Absolutely.
And I was like, this is why I'm doing this.
Totally. And yeah, little did we know that it was going to become such a key part of my business once the pandemic hit. So
that is the best part of this story.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in a second because
Awesome.
I want you to have a chance just to kind of introduce yourself, introduce your business, like why you're doing what you're doing and why you love it so much.
Cool. Well, thanks again for having me today.
Yeah.
This is super fun.
Welcome.
So yeah, I started Rutabagas almost 6 years ago. I have always been super interested in like nutrition and the role that food plays in our body, and I think it can either kill us or heal us. And so I had watched, I think, too many Netflix documentaries, and like you just can't unsee and unknow some things. And so eventually it just really kind of dawned on me one day that I was ready to make the shift and I was ready to go plant-based. And I didn't really know how it would impact my health or my body, but I just felt like it made sense for me. And so that was, I think, 8 years ago. That feels crazy saying that, but feels like a really long time ago. But then some days it feels like yesterday. But anyway, so I went plant-based, cut all animal products out of my diet. And as somebody who grew up in the Midwest, you know, traditional like meat and potatoes diet, it's like I love to cook, but I had to teach myself a different way of cooking. So
and you just like dove head first.
I did.
in. Like you can learn so much online. Like
You
you can
really-
teach yourself to do anything.
you
right?
can, yes, like thankfully for YouTube and cookbooks and you know and enough curiosity, and you can learn how to do anything. So
and since you do have like a natural love for cooking, like maybe it didn't turn out every time, but like you just keep going until you find something you do like.
I had to figure out how to feed myself and my you know 2 girls, and once I did, I realized, gosh, the community really has a gap here, and the community really needs this. So I was ready to leave corporate America,
mass produce this and share it with the world.
So here we are almost 6 years later.
Well, I have to say I've had the bangin' nachos or whatever you call them, and they are incredible. Like,
Thank you.
it's like mushrooms instead of hamburger, and you would just honestly never know the difference. And I love mushrooms anyway, so it just like makes it better.
It does,
super filling, super delicious.
Thank you.
Everything you make, everything I've ever tried, it really just tastes so good. Like, I'd rather not know what it is, honestly. Like, it's fine.
And it
just, put it in the mouth and see if it's good or not.
Exactly. It's like hot dogs. Do any of us really want to know what's in a hot dog? Like, we just want it to taste good. And so that's like...
And you're promising me it's plant-based, so...
Like,
what a bonus.
There's never going to be a study that comes out that says, you know, you can eat too many vegetables.
Right.
So it's going to be like, it's going to be good for you. At least better than maybe, you know,
Yeah, and I appreciate that about
Totally.
you. So there's been quite a journey for you throughout the last 6 years.
Yes.
Do you want to talk a little bit about like the ups and downs?
Yeah.
And, I mean, pandemic was a major part of the story.
A huge turning point for me. But, you know, looking back, I'm not sure I would change any part of the journey. Like, it's just been so many lessons along the way, and it's just really, if I thought I was like resilient and had a lot of grit before, like the pandemic just leveled me up in a way I could have never have guessed. So so we
it just slapped us across the face when we weren't expecting it.
You know, and I think as entrepreneurs, like that's what we're here for. You know, if every day was the same and easy, it's like we wouldn't be doing this. But we love the challenge. We love navigating the hurdles and getting those wins. And so, but signing a lease for my first commercial space that was all mine, like 2 months before the pandemic, was, you know, I had nothing but wins ahead of me.
Yeah.
And then to get the keys March 1st.
Right. Because you had really built a following.
Yes.
You know, like you used the power of social media.
Totally. Yes.
And, you know, you started by selling meals, you know, cooking them in the evenings, right? Like,
yeah, like Sunday night pickups. It's like I built a base of loyal followers and a strong following, just, you know, feeding people their food for a week. They'd come pick up on Sunday night. And from there, I thought, okay, let's start selling this out in the community. And, you know, I did holiday markets and popped up at breweries that didn't have food and coffee shops. And then from there, I said, okay, well, maybe Lincoln can support a restaurant. And so I subleased a space, you know, super low risk. You don't have to sign a 5-year term and, you know, promise your firstborn if it doesn't work out. And, you know, I did that for 10 months and saw, you know, huge revenue numbers. And I was like, wow, this is it, you know, like we are being supported. And so I felt super comfortable taking that next, you know, leap of faith and getting my own.
And
my
every
own
box
space.
had been checked, so you did nothing, you know.
Yeah, it's like
out of the ordinary than any other.
Incrementally,
honestly, probably even, you know, a little bit more cautiously and carefully than some businesses. So
I agree. Yeah.
And what I do really love about like your customers, your clientele, they just are so loyal and they just like cheer from the rooftops about Rutabagas.
They do. Yeah. I give them an opportunity to support me, and they do it and then some. Yeah. You know, which feels great.
So you have an exciting new development.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So so after closing the O Street location during the pandemic, I opened and closed it all within 18 months. A dear friend of mine, Nick with Nachos, let me borrow his food truck for like 10 months. And I bopped around town in his cute little blue truck and sold food out of it and realized I loved having a food truck. And I wanted to see if I could like raise funds to buy my own, or, you know, whatever that looked like. Well, then the universe conspired to put the perfect restaurant location in my hands. And so I pivoted from the food truck life to going back to having my own restaurant space. However, my prayers were answered. Pepsi here locally reached out to me out of the blue and offered a old delivery truck that they had retired for me to use as my food truck. You know, it was just up to me to build it out. And so I got that offer to take a truck off their hands like in June of last summer. And I signed a lease for a restaurant space in July. And so it was just wild. Obviously, the restaurant took precedence. I had to get it opened, had to get money moving through the door. So the food truck sat in the parking lot for the last 10 months. But over the last couple weeks, we've got it dusted off and the engine turned on and a serving window installed and some branding done, and electricity goes in later this week so we can have a fully functional kitchen on 4 wheels. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. So we'll have
really exciting.
So sometimes you do get what you ask for. It just happens like all in its own time.
And maybe not in the order that you wanted or any of those things. But as long as you're like open to like opportunity. Yeah. I think that's a really big lesson. I think all business owners learn eventually, because like you just eventually realize like you cannot have it all go the way that you planned. And so as long as you're just perfectly willing to like accept what comes your way.
And just be patient.
And say yes to it.
Yes, say yes to it. That's like the biggest takeaway. It's like the opportunity comes, take it. Yeah,
so is there anything else you need to get the food truck rolling? You
just
have the equipment?
The electricity, I've got the equipment. So we just need the power and use a great power wash of it as well. But we've already took it on the road. We've got 2 events later this week. So right now it's just like a tent on wheels, a little food tent on wheels. So we're not really cooking out of it. We can still do all the cooking at the kitchen, at the restaurant. But it should be a fully functioning kitchen on wheels like by mid-June.
That's amazing. It's like a second location.
It
is. If people want to book you for food truck, how do they do that?
Yeah, just check out my website. I've got my booking information there. Okay. We're super excited to be at farmers markets and Jazz in the June, and lots of fun things going on this summer.
Yeah. Do you have any good stories of people that have maybe been inspired to go plant-based just from like eating some of your food?
Sure. Yeah, I think that people are always surprised at how well plants can taste when you know how to cook them. You know, it's like I feel like we all grew up eating, sorry mom, you're like boiled Brussels sprouts, and we're like, oh my gosh, these are disgusting, and we like grow up hating certain vegetables, but now it's like when you learn how to roast them and season them, it's like, oh, they're just like little bites of delicious candy, you know.
They can be like candy. Yeah, Brussels sprouts especially.
Yes, when you just caramelize the natural sugars in these vegetables, it's like they turn into magic. So, so yes, I feel like giving people the opportunity to taste food that's been well prepared can give them the encouragement they need to go plant-based. So
they may have kind of dabbled in it, and you know, then they're like, oh, I can actually get enough variety.
Totally.
And,
yes. And I hosted some cooking classes earlier this year that really showed people like
those
hands-on.
Really were popular.
They were so much fun. So much fun. I put a pause on them for food truck season because I have a great team, but at the end of the day, like, we're a small team, so yes, but we'll resume them this late fall and winter.
Are you always looking to hire?
You know what? My team is full right now.
Oh, good.
We're small but mighty, so which I've always really appreciated about the team I'm able to create. The right people always find me.
In the restaurant world, you know, like having people that are there a long time, and you know, great staff that you're not retraining all the time.
I know, so it's exhausting, and as someone who grew up in the restaurant industry, like I know what the norm is, and so I made it a mission of mine to make sure that I hired right and really created a family of staff. It makes a difference.
Tell us a little bit more about that. You're growing up in the restaurant industry, and then how much fun it's been to like work with your dad.
Oh, yes, for sure. So my dad had a restaurant in the 70s before I was born, and so I always say, like, I was born with a little bit of, like, restaurateur blood in me.
Yeah.
But boy, like, he learned all the hard parts before I, you know, was ever a twinkle in anybody's eye. So growing up, he did still stay in the food business as a food salesman, and so when I could, you know, I'd bop around to the restaurants with him and walk in the back door and see all, like, the hustle and bustle of the kitchen and the restaurant. And I just have such fond memories of that. And I remembered how much excitement there was and how much like love and passion that goes into making food. And so from a very young age, he just was really a key part of showing that to me, of showing how unique the restaurant world can be. And so
that's a view most people don't get.
Yeah.
You know, like I've never hardly been in a working kitchen.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like we just got to like saunter through the back door, you know, and just see the other side of it. And so, so my first job was waiting tables at Howard's Pantry at 14 over in Van Dorn Plaza. Yes, and so thank you, Howard, for, you know, also giving me a start in the restaurant industry. But
cool.
Anyways, yeah, so full circle, now I own my own restaurant. And actually the first restaurant space I had, which was at like 12th and P, my dad's restaurant, we shared the same alley. So I was like, how crazy is that? You know, it's like we both were dumping trash in the bins in the same alley, just decades apart. So that was really fun.
And he just can't get it out of his blood, so he's just around helping when he can.
Just, you know, I hear my back door open, and I'm like, oh, that must be Dad showing up just to see what's going on. And
it's like not a full commitment, but he gets to be around it.
Totally, he knows, you know, we're well loved and our customers are great, and he knows how much work it is. So he never complains when I ask him to make a grocery store run and grab more vegan mayo or broccoli, you know,
So you grew up in Lincoln. I usually ask that at the beginning, so we didn't go over that. So you're Lincoln.
Okay. Born and raised.
Which schools did you go to?
Yeah, Lincoln High, graduated, and then the university. Got a degree in psychology, which to this day I still put into practice all the time. So I'm in the business of people.
I mean, people are the hardest component of any business.
Absolutely.
I've said that numerous times, probably even on this podcast, but people are difficult. So like getting into their mindset and figuring them out is like not easy. So it would
it's been
be
helpful.
valuable just in life. just
absolutely
in general.
I don't regret it.
Yeah.
At all.
And then you worked for the Heart Association, right?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
had a pretty big career.
Yeah.
in
I had a
that.
7-year stint, and I loved it. I loved working for a cause. You know, there was a definite why of going to work every day, and I think I've definitely tried to instill so much knowledge and passion that I developed working for them in my own business. So I took
all your
so much of that
experiences
with me.
in your life lead up to like what you're doing today, and will be a part of the story to get to the next part. But I always thought it was interesting and just kind of neat, like that you were trying to provide healthy food for people's hearts too, like
absolutely.
after being there.
I know.
I don't know. For some reason, my mind's always made that like connection.
Totally.
So.
Yeah. I mean, a healthy heart definitely has a diet rich in fiber and fruits and vegetables. I mean, the two go hand in hand. So, yeah.
Well, do you have any like advice for somebody that's, you know, thinking about getting their own restaurant or getting into the business or just business in general?
Totally. I feel like I would not be where I am today if it weren't for some key mentors and people that didn't know me from anybody. So my advice would be to be brave and reach out. And I think most times people are willing to help. You just have to ask, you know. And so find a mentor, you know, ask questions. It's a small community in which we live, so find your people and lean on them. They will help you go farther faster, and nobody should have to do this alone.
I 100% agree with that. And don't pay the dumb tax twice.
Correct. Sorry, if you don't have to. I mean, I know I still do some days.
Oh, for sure.
But I really try to like lessen how often that happens if I can. So.
Well, okay, and then the whole point that we were talking about at the beginning, we got to talk about the app.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Back that app up.
Back that app up, that's right. And also find yourself a friend and business partner that will build you an amazing app so you can get you know, the good word of your business in the hands of everybody you can. So that app seriously was like my lifeline to getting food in people's stomachs during the pandemic. Yeah. So I just like
it was so well timed.
It was wild.
It was one of our first apps that we published, and so it was sort of a learning experience together. But you know, integrating that into your food ordering system and
it was huge.
It was just really a really fun project, and it was a great case study because you do have a loyal following, and that's an ideal client to use an app. And they want to be notified by you, and you take advantage of the push notifications. You're sending out specials or events or
and
just
4 years later, every week I'm still doing. You know, it's like it's still relevant. So,
so it's been really fun to see how you've used it throughout the years. And excuse me, but so how many downloads have you had now? Do you know?
I don't know.
We'll have to look it up.
Isn't that terrible?
No.
I care less about the analytics
you just don't
and
have
just like
time to get into that.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years later, I'm sure it's a ridiculous number. But
and the technology has changed, and we had to go from one platform to another, and so you've been there from the beginning to kind of see how things have morphed and changed for us in the industry too.
Because things are ever changing, but we just pivot and adapt and keep marching forward.
Well, you and Dylan, my web developer, have a pretty close relationship whenever you need anything. So tell me a little bit about what it was like working with the team on the app.
I love Dylan. It's like I can put anything I can put anything in front of him and he just like immediately takes care of it. I was like, oh my gosh, you are such a win for your company, seriously.
He is. Yeah. He's like coming up on 5 years.
That's wild.
I know. I'm so excited.
That is wild. Yeah. So, I mean, everything, I just always felt like I was heard and supported and things were executed just as I needed them to be. Yeah. And there's just not been any issues. You know, I feel like in technology, I mean, there's probably been in your world and I just haven't, like, it hasn't risen to the customer level surface because things feel so seamless to me. But I mean, like I said, I know that that's probably not the case. I'm sure there's always things that are changing on the back end that you guys have to...
Well, that's what's awesome about the platform, though. Like, when we build it, like, it will inherently, if there's updates made, it's rolled out immediately.
Yeah.
And so the next time somebody launches the app,
Yeah.
it updates on
It just
their
refreshes
accord.
it.
So
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, it's pretty amazing.
They make it easy for
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
Because then it makes it easy for the customer.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, like, I don't have time to deal with hard things, you know, like, because like,
Heard that.
yeah, you know, it's like, in my kitchen, it's like I have to put out fires all the time. And so it's
the
like,
tech needs to just be
just
handling
needs
itself.
it does,
Okay? You're supposed
yes.
to make my life easier.
correct. And you do, you know, so, I love
That's
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Love
thank
it.
you for
course.
sharing that. I
Yes,
appreciate it. Yes, we
absolutely.
have really had a fun time watching how you've used it,
Yeah.
and I think
That's
it's been
awesome.
great for your business. So
It's been, a lifesaver.
yeah, awesome.
Yay.
Well, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks
taking
so much for
time
having
to
me.
share your
This was so
story.
fun.
Yes. You all need to go try Rutabagas, even if you said you would never try vegan.
Right.
You've got to do it.
It's just good food.
It's really good.
Just good food.
Yeah.
Yes.
You heard it here first. So.
Love it.
Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in a few weeks. We're going to take probably 4 weeks before we have another show. Our next show is going to be at our new office.
Yay!
So we're
So
really
exciting.
excited about that. That gave me chills. So,
No, I love it. Congratulations.
so signing off from Southeast Community College Focus Suites.
I love it. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for coming. Bye, everyone.